the oracles of real estate and law. The grand poobahs of Metro Detroit are here to help you with your questions on short sales and bankruptcies, from A to Z and from Lake St. Clair to Lansing, leaving no stone unturned to help you find your way through the dark and into the light. Live on the radio now, Jimmy Moss and Paul Gigliotti.
Hey, welcome, folks, to the Oracles of Radio with host here, attorney Paul Gigliotti, myself, Jimmy Moss, real estate agent with Red Carpet Platinum, enjoying this lovely Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And I just wanted to give a quick overview on some of the stuff about Father's Day. The show obviously is about real estate law and all those good things, so if you have any crazy law questions, call in. If you have any real estate needs, call in. We'll be sure to take a good stab at those and help you out with all the pertinent details. But, an overview on Father's Day, which is kind of interesting. The holiday was born about 103 years ago. And Sonora Smart Dodd's father, she's the young girl that started this campaign off, Paul. We were talking about this. And he was a Civil War vet and raised six children after his wife passed away. So she pushed for this to be a holiday after seeing Mother's Day, being, quite the holiday. And, I guess it was Calvin Coolidge, from what we were talking about, celebrated in 1920, and then from there, I think it was Lyndon Johnson, then in turn in 1966, was honoring that, and President Richard Nixon was the one that made it an official holiday. So what say you, Paul, about that?
Well, there's a bunch of legal things that go along with Father's Day, and me being on the legal side, I'm always looking at the angle and stuff.
Yeah.
And, again, not to be a downer on stuff, but I just always like little trivia and interesting
You're never
things.
a downer, Paul.
Yeah, thanks. But one of the things I heard on the news this past week is they were talking about how much money gets spent on the different holidays, comparing Mother's Day and Father's Day, and they were saying that for Mother's Day, on average, people spend $170, and for Father's Day, on average, people only spend $120.
Yeah, I think it's because the birthing process. It's kind of difficult. So I think that's the justification there is in pain.
Yeah, and there's legal things with the birthing process. For example, here's one. Back when I used to do a lot more family law, when a husband and wife are married and they have a child, there's an automatic presumption that the husband's the father, which is the way it should be. But if they were to get divorced later on, and let's say the husband wasn't the father, it was just some random person, that random person had no rights. Once the divorce was final, and the divorce said, the husband was the father or whatever, this other gentleman couldn't come back and have any custody, visitation or anything with the child. But on the other hand, maybe the mother could get support from this random guy. So there was kind of, finally,
that's a quandary.
Finally they've been getting around to, fixing that. But, for years and years and years, that was the case. And, it was on the news all the time. And everybody would just say, you talk to the legislature, And, I'll pick on the lawmakers.
Turn slow. Yeah. Yeah, those lawmakers, those judges. Hey, folks, if you're listening in, once again, the show is always about real estate, and it's about law and any, legal questions you have, give us a call. Sometimes they're abstract, and Paul willing to take a shot at those until you have no case, or you might have a good case. So, feel free to call in. The number for the show to call in, guys, is 800-923-9385. Once again, the old 800-923-9385. So, any legal questions you have, the other day, someone bumped into my car, and, it was just a simple thing, and very nice lady, and in all, we exchanged information, and we, said, hey, go ahead and, catch up with me, and I'll take care of the car, she said, which wasn't a problem. It was a very small little thing. But I almost didn't get a police report on it because it was such a small incident, and I thought, she'll take care of it. But, after speaking with, you and all the going-ons, you're like, no, you got to have that. So we did a little thing we called the cops, and they basically just said, here's the report, the case number for it.
Right.
And, if you want to file it later, but at least we got the case number, and then she was able to, then in turn fix it outside of it. And that was great. But, calling you is always a big help. And the reason why I said that is that when we're out selling houses and, dabbling around in all the things to do with real estate, it's a tricky transaction. I mean, it's right below, getting married, childbirth, all those type of things. Buying a house, it's pretty stressful. So if there's any, hinkering that there could be a problem with something or a contract, or, you need to have a good attorney. So myself, I always, I don't step in those shoes. I just call Paul, and he'll help me out with that. So when you're looking for a real estate agent, give me a call, and if I don't have the answer to it, I'll for surely talk to Paul. But nevertheless, what else is going on, buddy?
Well, my brain's always working. So, in fact, a lot of times I can't turn it off. But speaking of houses and, having a real estate agent, the attorney, and so forth, a couple of things I wanted to tell the listeners out there. If you are buying or selling right now and you're doing a little fix-up, I think there's 14 ACO stores that are closing, ACO Hardware.
That's sad.
So, yeah, sad, but unless you're trying to do that paint or whatever, you can get 50% off or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that's out there. Go to one of those stores. But, again, you got to be cautious because another one of my things where I think the lawmakers drop the ball is you'll have a store going out of business, and you'll see the signs lined up all along the street, 70% off. And you go in there and you're like, okay, what's 70% off? And they'll say, oh, just that paintbrush right there. And you're like, well, what about everything else? Well, no. Our sign says 70, and that's the little tiny paintbrush that you get 70% off. So don't get fooled by that. Now, here's another thing. If you are moving and you rent a U-Haul truck or whatever, here's a nice little fun one. On their website, they've got the price, which I like when companies come out and put the price. But when you go to sign the contract, they ask if you want insurance. The old insurance thing, okay? And they give you a couple of different options. Do you want our super duper insurance? Do you want our mediocre insurance? Or do you want no insurance? And by the way, the truck costs $45,000 and you agree to pay for it immediately if something happens.
This is interesting. Go ahead.
So this is one of those things where you want to call your insurance person ahead of time.
Right.
Because when you're standing in line and there's people in line behind you at the U-Haul store, you don't want to be trying to get a hold of your agent.
Yeah.
Chances are you're probably not going to get a hold of that person. The agents will usually say something like, how much weight is the truck, or how much weight per axle? Because most people, your insurance will cover up to a certain size, okay?
Right.
The U-Haul employees, and I got a chuckle out of this, and sometimes I try and shut off my chuckle in front of employees so they don't get an attitude towards me, but they're like, well, 95% of car insurance companies don't cover U-Haul, so you're not going to be covered. And you keep looking at that. The truck is valued at $45,000, and you'd agree to pay it in full if you wreck the truck.
Right.
So for something like that, you want to make sure that you call your insurance agent ahead of time and say, look, I'm going to be renting a U-Haul truck. I know they play this game with the insurance. Am I
save
covered?
yourself a couple bucks if they can help you out with it.
Absolutely, yeah. $14.95.
Yeah, that's that's a lot.
That's for the bare minimum. That's not the super duper.
Yeah.
So that's something you want to check on. Back to the stores. If you're buying things, what you have to remember is that stores don't have to take back anything out of their kind of customer friendliness.
They want to be one up of the other guy.
Right. And they'll usually post their policy and so forth, but keep in mind when you go there that they don't have to have a policy. They don't have to take back anything, whether you have a receipt or not. So you shouldn't go in there, with both barrels loaded and, thinking you're going to, get something returned. But, a couple of the stores, they offer a service to where you'll never lose a receipt. Kmart, if you give them an email address, they always email you the receipt. And I see a lot of stores, you could pull up stuff right on your phone and show it to them, and they're good with that. So that way, if you want to return something, you always have that Kmart email. Lowe's is doing a thing now where they have a swipey, and that will automatically tie in any receipts that you have. And again, they'll have it online. They can pull it right up. And the good thing I like about their program is that you can enter past receipts, and it will log it in there. And the system's really good because it has it goes by receipt number, store location number, and the date. And you can input old receipts in there, and then they'll have them logged in there for you. So, just some tips, just some legal tips.
Yeah, make your life simpler.
Yeah, because like you say, there's so much when you're buying and selling a house.
Yeah, the moving, the truck, and all the things you want to buy at Menards or wherever you might choose to go to. I know it gets to be quite a lot, and I look at all the the stuff that's going on out there in the housing market. God, what a market from one end to the other. It swings every day. You never know what obviously it's on the uptick right now, but hey folks, if you want to call in, let me shoot the number out real quick. It's 888-923-9385 if you have any questions for Paul with regards to any legal stuff that you have out there. I'm sure that there's something abstract in your mind that might be happening, or that you might just kind of want to, get an answer on. Give us a call. Anything real estate orientated, if you're looking to list your house, I'll help you out with the details on that. I know my onions when it comes to that. And once again, in buying and selling, all in the same. I mean, I think a lot of times, Paul, when we're out there looking at agents and we're looking at attorneys, it's the communication skills to be able to communicate with the other agent on the other line, or the judge. You can have a lot of knowledge, but if you don't have the way to interact with the other people to try to get your point across, in the most effective way, sometimes you got to be a little aggressive, and sometimes you got to be a little bit more laid back and choose your personalities well. And I think that's a huge part when you're out there looking for a real estate agent and you're looking for an attorney. If they have to then in front of a judge, or obviously real estate agents are always going to be communicating with the other agent, bickering on little things here or there. And
I got to tell you this agent story recently.
Okay, go ahead. I'm all yours.
Yeah, it's real hard to get me upset, but when you get that point, look out. And so an agent came and showed the house that we're selling, and I honestly don't know what happened, but there was mud tracked through the whole entire house. I mean, bad. Any of you listeners out there, you want to see the pictures? I have them on my phone. You're not going to believe it. You're going to say to yourself, "What the heck did they do in this house?" So then, it gets better. Jimmy's over here laughing. He's cracking up. It gets better than that. So in the bathroom, the shower curtain is all pulled over to the side, and there's mud on the ledge of the bathtub.
So they took a bath?
I don't know what they did, but I figured there's mud on the shoes. Did they track mud throughout the whole house and say, "Oh gosh, I guess I tracked mud throughout the house. I'm going to stand in the shower and wash my boots off"?
Yeah. Because
outside of the bathroom in the hallway, there was muddy footprints. Not like the rest of the house was big chunks of mud. I mean, chunks of mud, like the size of the palm of your hand, like coming off the heel. So it gets better than that. So as I'm cleaning up this mess, which you're trying to move out of a house. You don't, last thing you want to do is keep going back and cleaning up over and over again. Yeah. The door was totally unlocked. Door wall unlocked. The stick that was there was just laying on the floor. So the house was left unlocked. Had I not gone there, the house would have been unlocked. And, the big fear now is people coming in and stealing copper and doing different stuff like that.
Yeah,
so.
just people have access to your house, it's an issue. I mean, when I was doing real estate in Las Vegas, and I know we're coming up on a break real quick here, when we doing real estate out there, we had electronic lock boxes, and it was just when an agent went in there, they had a key in it, then it registered in the cloud when they were there, when they opened that door, and when they actually left. So we would know exactly who went in, when they went in, and how long they stayed in the property. So if something happened and the next agent comes and say, "Hey, there's no key," or the door's left unlocked, you have some repercussions. You can call that other agent and say, "Hey, listen, you were the last one in the property. What's the skinny?" So, hey, listen, come on right back, folks, and we'll talk about some of the increases of foreclosures. Thanks.
You got your highbrow.
Chairman Ben Bernanke is keeping interest rates low for now. So it's time you take advantage of this opportunity and look into refinancing your current home or purchasing a new one. Parks Title wants to remind you to exercise your right to choose your own title company when refinancing or purchasing your home. Whether you are selling, buying, or refinancing, remember Parks Title is independently owned with offices across Michigan to serve you. Visit parkstitle.com or like us on Facebook to learn more about how Parks Title can serve you.
Half Price Heroes, here's the update from theidealdepot.com. It's summer, and I know it doesn't feel like it yet, but you can already feel the humidity in the air, and the heat isn't far behind, and that means central air conditioning. But don't pay what everyone else pays. Go to theidealdepot.com and get a new Lennox Elite 3-ton air conditioning unit at half price. That's just $2,100, and you'll be buying from the best Williams Refrigeration, so you know the included installation will be perfect. But hurry, there's just one of those, and it's only at theidealdepot.com. It's a great chance to beat the heat and also beat the high price of central air. All the important details on this great deal are on the website, so go to theidealdepot.com, and as usual, important restrictions apply, so carefully review each offer and be cool. Be a hero for your family and a half-price hero for yourself, only at theidealdepot.com.
This is an important message for all hardworking Americans. Not long ago, Michael Parnas was living on a park bench in New York City. Fast forward to 2008, he took a few $1,000s, and in less than 8 months, 8 of the worst trading months in stock market history, Michael made close to $4 million. He cracked the stock market's code and discovered the insider trends that your broker doesn't want you to know. So he is giving you his Power Trading, Power Living book and DVD to help take the mystery out of the market, break down the trades and trends you need to know, and show you how he went from a park bench to Park Avenue for free. Just pay shipping. Michael has never stopped believing that regular hardworking people can make money in the stock market. A lot of money. In fact, Michael is convinced power trading can work for you too. That's why he's giving you his book and DVD for free. Call Michael now at 800-878-1634 and claim your free copy. Call 1-800-878-1634. That's 1-800-878-1634. Trading carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for everyone.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Oracles of Radio with attorney Paul Gigliotti and myself, Jimmy Moss. I'm a real estate agent here in the Tri-County area. I'm with Red Carpet Platinum. And, we're here to answer any questions that you have regarding real estate and law. And I'm sure there's going to be some people out there that have some questions with that. And, Paul and I were talking on the break. It's when you're listing your house, you really got to make sure that who's coming and going and the theft in the property. And in my class that I had about 2 weeks ago with RealComp, just a refresher on that, they're talking about lockboxes and people giving out the key, real estate agents not being able to make the appointment or for whatever reason, so they give it to their buyer to go show the property, and that's a big problem, and that's probably one of the most frequent fines that realtors are hit with, and it's something that is a big no-no out there. I told you earlier in the show here when we were talking last break that in Vegas when I was doing real estate out there, we have the electric lock boxes, and I know they're expensive to get, so they haven't really moved to that. But sooner or later, it would be nice if we did move to that situation, because when you set an appointment, you have a time frame that you're going to be there as a realtor. But sometimes if the house is vacant and a realtor that had the information before the lockbox combination, might stop in just for a quick show, even though they're not supposed to, but they already have the combination, or if they give it to somebody. So it's really, it still has that gray area where you can't peg down who may be in the property, and that's a problem. So you just dealt with it with your house being left open.
Yeah, absolutely. And fortunately for me, I know the legal steps to have, because a lot of people will ask, I've moved out of my house, can I drop the insurance? And absolutely not for this particular reason. And for insurance purposes, what you want to talk with your insurance person about is when you move out, now you're talking a vacant house, you have to have vacant house coverage. So, for example, if you keep your regular coverage and you move out and you have, a theft of the pipes or whatever happens, and you're still in the old homeowner's policy, you know what your insurance company is going to say.
You weren't living in the property. It's not the policy you originally signed up for, right?
Yeah. So sorry. Too bad. We can't cover you. So, and if you're renting, there's a different policy for that. And if you get a renter's policy but it's vacant, same thing. You're not going to be covered. And unfortunately, like I always say, I'm always trying to look for the other angle. Insurance companies are not out to take care of you. They are out to make money, and they make money by not paying claims. And here's a big thing that the public doesn't know. And I love this one, and like I always say, I love the things that the public don't know. But do you know that insurance adjusters get bonuses for how many times they can deny a claim? Now,
I've heard that. I have.
There should be a public policy
the first
argument
thing is
against
deny, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that what Aaron Brockovich had to deal with?
Gosh, yeah, big time stuff. And there was a story that an attorney told me, and of course he told me, I wasn't allowed to say, who it was and this and that and the other. But there was an insurance adjuster in the past who, what he would do is, your house burns down. First person you call is the fire department.
Eric Holder.
Second person you call is your insurance company, right? So this particular adjuster would go in the house and dump accelerants, okay? Then the fire chief, he usually comes in a day or two after when it's safe.
So this is a true story.
This is the true story, yeah. Don't quote me on any of it.
All the details. It's not heard from your uncle's brother down the cistern, your half cousin, So, but go ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. So anyways, he would dump accelerants in there, and then the fire chief comes in a couple days later, does an investigation, finds accelerants and tells the insurance company, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, we can't pay your claim. They found accelerants. They say maybe it was intentionally set.
Yeah.
You're denied. So your $100,000 house burns down. You get nothing. Now you're stuck with a lot where you have to pay to remove the rubble.
Yeah.
Well, this adjuster got away with it for years. Somebody finally caught him. But, you think about all the poor people, their houses burned down.
Yeah.
And just so this guy could get a bonus by denying the claim.
And make more money.
They weren't covered.
And you make more money and you can party with the NSA. Right?
Yeah, where was the NSA when all this was happening?
Yeah,
weren't they listening to his conversation, his emails? Weren't they tracking him buying lighter fluid or gasoline? And he lives in a condo and doesn't cut grass, but he's still buying gasoline.
Let's talk about something that's this came up the other day, and I wanted to mention it. Jack White, the singer from the former band White Stripes, did a great thing. For the Detroit Masonic Temple, he paid the back owed taxes on that to keep that thing up and running, and I thought that was pretty sweet. $142,000 out of his pocket. I guess it had to do with the history of his mom and being involved with the temple, and I thought that was something that he took care of. So for what it's worth, people are always trying to help out here and there.
Absolutely, that's a great thing, and again, unfortunately for me, with the wheels turning in my head.
Yeah, I know you're mad about the mud.
If he paid the taxes for $140,000, but yet he sold a bunch of tickets and more money came in than the $140,000,
yeah,
it was a great business decision at that point.
I don't know the the thought pattern behind it, but for me, hey, that's a pretty good chunk of change, and if you get it back, great, good for him. If not, then you play it forward and good positivity.
And
absolutely.
the other artists that get to play in there now, it really kept the economy going. Now other people could use it for however long the tax problem's going to stick around or whatever. Keeps the venue open.
Some of the things that I was reading here, this week with regards to interest rates as they continue to creep up, and it's looking that we're probably going to be in the 4 to 5% range in interest rates, and from what all indicators that I'm looking at out there in the internet and the things that I see come across my emails every day. I mean, obviously, it's not like it was in 1979, 1980 when it was 17 or 18%. I guess we're spoiled in that aspect. But it is something to keep an eye on, and it is going to affect the housing market. And some of the things that I look at in the housing market is, we always talk about, is it a bubble or not? And, at this point, I don't think we're there yet, but I think that, everything, it always cycles back around. I mean, sooner or later there will be one. I just don't know when. I don't have that crystal ball to tell you that. But I can tell you that, as investors, I've purchased a lot of these great foreclosures and short sales, and, home ownership is actually kind of down for people that are, primary residences. So a lot of investors are in there, and as these houses get more expensive and their rate of return is going to drop, they're not going to be interested in buying these properties, and sooner or later they'll put them back on the market. So I don't know if it'll be a long-term strategy for a lot of these investors to hang on to them and receive the monthly rent, but if they choose to let some of these houses go, then there'll be more houses on the market once they feel they can get a pretty penny for them. So, that's just an indicator to keep an eye on. I don't know what investors are going to do. Most usually look for the long-term payout and, continue to trend that because they want to diversify their portfolio. But a lot of this recovery has been based on the back of investors, not just individual people, but companies buying up houses across the U.S. And that's just something to keep an eye on. Homeownership being down for primary residences, it's kind of a sad thing. We talked about that, but there's nothing I can say as far as when and if there's going to be a bubble. I mean, not when. But I know there will be. I just don't know when, and if it's going to be 10 years out from what Zillow and Trillia and some of these other places are saying. We're definitely still way undervalued. So, what's your thoughts on that, buddy?
Well, there's a guy in my building, and he asks me all the time, what's going to happen with the mortgage interest rates and blah, 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 blah. So
right.
I called my mortgage guy's a straight shooter, not one of these guys that says I can do anything. And he assured me that the rates are going to be pretty much the same until probably the beginning of 2014. So for the gentleman in my office and anybody else out there who's ready to hang themselves thinking, I missed the boat on the interest rate thing, it's going to be around for a little while longer. Yeah.
It'll be a slow tick up.
And that's just the thing. Again, we listen to the media and, they over-dramatize it and you think, oh, my God, I missed the boat. But just to let you know, and going back to what Jimmy keeps saying, as always, give us a call about things. Something as simple as that is something that you can call us on, and we can give you a quick answer on that. We're knee deep in this stuff all the time.
Sure.
We know it, especially me through emailing. That's a perfect question to shoot an email to me. I can shoot that back. I have email on my phone. I get an answer right back out to you, and save you some anxiety. That's always my bottom line: is the more anxiety I can save people, the better I feel about what I do.
Yeah, knowledge is power, and and not having to go through the stress of worrying about something as simple as, are the rate's going to go up, or what can you do about dower rights? When you get married, and you could then in turn talk to people about the differences between when you get married and the dower rights that happen when you do get married, and what the wife can get, and so on and so forth. You want to elaborate on that? We kind of talked about that a little bit before.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. And I love how you're getting so excited about it, because it really is a fascinating.
It's different than what.
It's a shocking thing. It really is, and it's another thing that people don't know about. When people hear about it, they say, what are the lawmakers doing? What are they thinking? And what dower rights is whatever real estate that a husband owns, in his own name, the wife has an automatic 1/3 interest in that property. Whether her name has ever been on the property, she gets a 1/3 interest.
So if you you're going to get married to somebody and she owns a house and you own a house, when you get married, she gets 1/3 of your house, but you don't get 1/3 of her house.
Absolutely correct. And it used to be that way.
Yeah.
And
they
changed.
Still that way?
No, they changed the law in Michigan a long time ago, and they said, men don't need that protection.
Oh, so the men don't get it, but the women do. So
right.
that is the way. Okay, now
right.
I understand.
Another Father's Day topic. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, Father's Day we'll stay on the positive note of that, but it is something to be aware of, because if you're going to get married and you have a lot of properties, what's the percentage? I mean, everybody hopes that a marriage always goes through all the way to the end. I mean, that's the beauty of it, and I'm a believer in the institution myself, but. Nevertheless, there is that possibility that, it's kind of like maybe it's 50-50. I don't know the numbers. I mean, is it red or black? I mean, is it that cut and dry?
And, divorce issues aside, from our office, we see it more from a creditor standpoint where, always make yourself safe so creditors can't touch you. And this leads into bankruptcy a little bit, where people don't realize it, but you'll have a woman get married, and she's never owned anything in her life, but the man she's marrying owns real estate. Well, once they're married, if she goes to file a bankruptcy, chances are that husband's probably going to lose some of those properties, because she now has a 1/3 interest in those properties.
So the creditors are going to want to go after that.
Yeah, and especially the bankruptcy trustee.
Yeah.
One thing that people don't know about bankruptcy trustees is, on top of their small fee they get per case, they get a big whopping commission on anything they can take away from somebody. So they're drooling whenever there's real estate and big ticket items involved, because they might get a piece of that,
Yeah, so they make money on that, and that wow.
So when you go to get a bankruptcy, you don't want to just randomly pick somebody and say, oh, this is a great price or whatever. You want to make sure you get somebody that is going to ask you that type of question. Okay, even though you don't have anything,
right.
Does your husband have any real estate, because you have dower rights?
What's interesting? Hey, folks, when you're out there driving around, if you have a question, give us a call, 800-923-9385. Once again, 800-923-9385. If you have anything for Mr. Paul Gigliotti, or any questions on real estate for myself, Jimmy Moss with Red Carpet Platinum, feel free to shoot it out there, and we'll give a shout at it. Oh, what Paul was I going to show? There was something else I wanted to go over here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, what I was going to say is, I know we were talking earlier about dower, but it really started with the joint ownership question. A lot of people will ask me about, co-signing and so forth, or, whose name should be on a car title and things like that. Mm-hmm. And, especially when it comes to like a vehicle, people don't realize, but in Michigan, if your name is on a vehicle, you can be sued for an accident, whether or not it had anything to do with you or not. You can be sued. So a lot of times the husband and wife will put both their names on the title. And even though one only has, the loan in their name, that's not the way to do it. Because if you get into an accident, if you're the wife, you get into an accident, now they can sue the wife and the husband. They can take your personal assets. But
yeah.
If, whoever drives the car, if husband only drives the car, then husband's name should only be on the title. That way, if he gets into an accident, gets sued, at least any of the assets that are in the wife's name, are going to be safe. Looks like we have a caller.
Yeah, we're gonna. Hey, callers, hang on the line. We're gonna get you guys right after the break. Hang on there, buddy.
Thinking of downsizing? It's a seller's market, and sold signs are popping up all over town. Parks Title wants to remind you, you have a right to choose your own title company if you are selling, buying, or refinancing your home. Parks Title is independently owned with offices across Michigan to serve you. We have more than 25 years experience in clearing title and bringing deals to the closing table quickly and accurately. Talk to your real estate agent today. Visit parkstitle.com or like us on Facebook to learn more about how Parks Title can serve you.
Attention homeowners. The Obama administration is pressuring lenders to do more to prevent foreclosure with its Home Affordability and Stability Plan. If you own a home and you're having trouble making your payments or facing foreclosure, we can help. Call the National Mortgage Helpline at 800-391-6649. We now have the ability to stop foreclosure proceedings, forgive late payments and penalties, take your adjustable rate mortgage to a fixed rate, and reduce your mortgage payment to as low as 2%.
We were 3 months behind on our payments, and the National Mortgage Helpline was able to get our mortgage company to take the payments we were behind, put them on the back of our loan, and lower our interest rate. Now we have a payment we can afford.
Simply call 800-391-6649. Again, that's 800-391-6649. If you're having trouble paying your mortgage, call the National Mortgage Helpline today at 800-391-6649. You don't need equity or good credit. You just need to call 800-391-6649.
Thank you for the amazing job you've done in moving my first book forward in the publishing process.
Ludi Cotton Darnell's book, Ashley, Alex, and the Mystery Twins, was published with Zulon Press.
This is an exciting time for me.
Have you got a book for a Christian audience? Want to control the publishing process? Your free publishing guide is at ChristianPublishing.com.
I thank the Lord that Zulon Press has made it possible.
Visit Zulon Press for your free publishing guide at ChristianPublishing.com.
Millions of children in America go to bed hungry, kids like Xavier. But Xavier and his family have found help and hope from a local food pantry that is served by Feed the Children. For just $19 a month, you can feed hungry children like Xavier. That $19 provides roughly $100 of food and personal care items to feed a family of 4 for 1 week. That's just 60 cents a day. Help feed America's children. Call 800-235-9339 or go to newstalk1400.us to make your donation today.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the Oracles of Radio with attorney Paul Gigliotti in the Tri-County area that he represents wholeheartedly, and myself, Jimmy Moss, with Red Carpet Platinum. I'm a real estate agent here in the Tri-County area, and with that, hey, Paul, let's jump to these callers real quick so they're not hanging online. So let's get to this one that says Paul's daughter, and then Tom will get to you in a second. Who might this be?
Madison, just calling to wish Paul a happy Father's Day.
Oh, thank you guys. Love you guys. Great call.
Love you too. Happy Father's Day to you too, Jim.
Well, front seat in heaven for you. Thank you very much. That's great.
Yeah, that was great. That was really great that you guys get to call. I'm not a Facebook poster, but like I always say, my brain never turns off, and I always think about posting things. And I was thinking about this morning posting that. Really been blessed with 3 great kids. It's not easy living with me. I grew up the hard way, and I expect things to be a little bit hard for kids, so they appreciate things. And I'm old school where, kids should have respect and, and help others and those kind of things. And I tell you, my kids are great at that stuff. Fantastic.
Yep. No, they're definitely good kids. I can vouch for that for sure.
Because we had a great dad.
Thank you.
Sounds like a fan, buddy. Sounds like a fan. The biggest fan.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, love you.
Love you too.
Oh, that was
Happy Father's Day.
Thanks.
That was great. All right. Hey, Tom, we got click over here. See, we got. Yeah, Tom, are you there?
Yeah, how are you guys doing?
Good. What you got, buddy?
Well, you guys were talking about the possibility of a bubble. A second bubble in the housing market?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Some of the indicators from Trillia and Zillow and some of the things that I look up and I receive online is stating that it's really not going to happen right now, that houses are still undervalued considerably in most states, but sooner or later there'll always be one. I just don't know when.
Right. What I wanted to share with you guys is, I don't know if you know what happened Friday. The market went down, the stock market, and what they're worried about is the Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke is going to be grilled Tuesday and Wednesday, because the last time he was being grilled, he said that the spigots are going to have to be tapered off.
Sure, yeah, that's what we think too. That they're going to, the quantitative easing and the buying of, of bonds is, $80 billion a month is, sooner or later, the cows have to, or the chickens have to come home to roost. You got to take care of that.
Right, and the scuttlebutt is that we can't even have an improvement in the economy because, they're going to have to start tapering off, and it could create an economic collapse just with an improvement in the economy. And the economy can't get any worse either, because then we're facing this
stagnation,
deflation.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, inflation and stagnation. I mean, I don't want to go down the same road as Japan, and we're right behind Europe. It is a scary situation. I mean, we're right on the precipice of. I wouldn't even say recovering. I think it'll be a long-term recovery. I wouldn't even use the word recovery. I just use the word. I would say, hey, there is some indicators that things are getting better, but when you look at the job market. Everybody concentrates on the interest rate, on the unemployment rate, but I look at, the people that are employed, and there's only 63.5% of Americans that are employed. I mean, that leaves, the other 35% and change that are not employed, and that number hasn't changed at all, and that's a scary indicator in itself.
Right. Well, like you said, the Federal Reserve is keeping the economy up with $85 billion a month, and that can't go on forever, but the Federal Reserve Chairman has to convince the deflationists and the inflationists that we're just going to muddle along. And like you said, it's going to be a long, long time before anything changes, and that's the way they want it.
Well, I'll tell you, this is the big indicator right here, and this is how it works in a situation with imports and exports. And this is the final, as I'm getting through this conversation about imports and exports, let's talk about a small business that starts up. And the small business has got so many overlays that it's difficult for them to get off the ground because of other government overlays. Yeah, there's some things that you need to have out there, to protect the environment and so on and so forth. But there's so many laws and regulations that are being passed by people that were non-elected that, affect a business, that it hinders the business's ability to get off the ground. So let's say it does get off the ground, it becomes a middle-sized business, and it does pretty well. That middle-sized business, then it gets bought up by a bigger company. Let's just use an example, like someone like a Walmart or so on and so forth. They kind of take over, like Aco right now going under is a middle-sized business compared to Lowe's and Home Depot. And then they take those jobs from those bigger companies and they move them overseas. Well, why did they do that? Because they're overtaxed and overburdened. So if you sit down at a board of in your company and say, well, we can make another $1 billion a year if we have our goods produced overseas, and then what happens is everything's produced overseas, and then as it comes back here, we then in turn import everything, and when we're importing, almost $2.3 trillion of imports. So we import 80%, of goods into the U.S. and we're only exporting, 1.5 trillion. We become, consumers, and then sooner or later you got to make something, and that's just not going to happen overnight.
Right. So what they're saying is we're in a debt bubble, and it's encompassing the whole world because all the world economies are, tied together. And they all seem to be, debasing their currencies to keep their economies going.
Well, it's a big indicator. If you want to, I guess, like you say all the time, Paul, if you want to see your future, look at your friends. And we look at what's going on with Japan, and they've been in stagnation for 25 years, and Europe is right behind them as far as some of the the slippery slope of quantitative easing that we're going through, and it is an indicator that sooner or later this Fed bubble is going to pop, and I just don't know how it's going to affect the U.S. It's above my pay scale, and when it's going to happen. But it is a concern that when you have trillions of dollars of debt, you have to realize that sooner or later that has to be taken care of.
Well, let me give you guys and your listeners a little bit of advice. What I'm getting is that, and we're very fortunate to live near the Canadian border. If you want liquid cash, open up a bank account
in Canada,
in
right?
Windsor. Because when our dollar crashes, their dollar is going to go through the roof.
Yeah, and they could stop you from doing that at a period of time, or right now they're not. So you could do it.
Right, and go online and get some Morgan silver dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can afford it, maybe a little double eagle gold $20 piece.
Right.
Come in handy.
Tom, I see some of that information, on different talk shows, and what's the guy you like to listen to all the time? That the economic guy, Paul. What's his name?
Ramsey?
Yeah, Ramsey. Yeah. Ramsey always says, buying silver and gold when things are tough, you can't eat them. But, in all honesty, there's a difference between the currencies and if money drops down. And it's happened in our lifetime. I mean, it happened to the sterling, in the 70s, and it happened to the ruble in Russia. It's happened throughout, the history, the recent history of the world. So, I mean, it's not that it's not... It couldn't happen here, and it could. So, I mean, I'm not running up to the hills, like I say, with an AK-47 and a can of beans or, night vision and a ghillie suit. But at the same time, it is something that we need to look at as far as Americans and realize that if you want to be engaged in the political atmosphere to change what's going on, you have to. If not, then you're just going to be screaming from the second story that, the house is on fire and how did it get there? Well, you got to get engaged. You got to be out there. You got to participate. You got to look who's getting elected, and you got to be involved in that. And that's a real big process, and the less inspired thinkers that are running the country right now, maybe we should get rid of some of those guys. So, hey, listen, right. Tom, I appreciate this call. I really do. We're going to come up on a hard break right here, but, keep listening, and we appreciate your input, buddy.
Okay, guys. See ya.
Mm-hmm. All right. We'll be right back with that after break, guys. So what do you think?
Dr. Richard Klein, whose Michigan Head and Neck Institute has been a longtime advertiser on the John McCullough Show and is a member of the It's My Michigan team, shares some of his experiences since coming to the Patriot.
I'll bet most of the people who listen are interested in reality, and they're interested in listening to the reality and gathering the information in their own head and then therefore changing their life the way they appropriately want to. I think you do a really good job of informing them about what's going on and how that could affect their lives. They're also listening to you talk about Michigan Head and Neck Institute. That I thank you for. It's increased my business. I have 11 wonderful people working for me, and it's helped me pay the bills. Thank you.
We at The Patriot are ready to customize an on-air campaign for you that's designed to bring you new customers for an investment that won't break the bank. Our listeners respond, and because of the nature of our programming, they are really listening. Call us at 248-581-1234 and ask for Brad Smith, or you can email Brad at brads@salemdetroit.com. We're anxious to show you what we can do, just like Dr. Klein.
It's a fact. You can make thousands of dollars flipping houses. Discover the secret house flipping formula from Dave and Pete, the stars of A&E's #1 hit show, Flipping Boston, for free.
Hi, it's Pete and Dave. We're giving you our flipping formula for free. It's what we use to find the right house, flip it fast, and get paid.
It's time to stop just talking about flipping houses and start doing it. Now is one of the best times in history. USA Today reported that you can make thousands of dollars in profit flipping houses.
In New York City, the average profit was over $118,000. Omaha, it's over $71,000. Lake Havasu, Arizona, the profit per flip was $87,000.
And we're going to show you how we do it for free. Stop dreaming. The houses are there. The opportunity will never be better. And for a limited time, the flipping formula is free.
Call now, 800-228-9620 for your free Flipping Formula Strategy Guide DVDs. Just pay processing. That's 800-228-9620. 800-228-9620.
Looking for ways to lower your auto insurance costs? This is Kevin Clinton, Commissioner of the Office of Financial and Insurance Regulation. Our agency has tips on how to shop around for more affordable rates. We can help explain all your coverage options and make sure Michigan drivers are aware of every discount available. For help in stretching your insurance dollar, visit us online at michigan.gov/OFIR or call us at 877-999-6442.
Just take those
Hello, welcome back to the Oracles of Radio, my fellow Americans, where we talk about real estate, we talk about law and all the doodads with real estate and law. And, I just, hey, Paul, real quick, I just want to throw a few things out there. This is recital time with all the dances. So, Kelly, a good friend of mine, Kelly Powers, runs a Turning Point over there in St. Clair Shores. Great show. One of my little girls in that one, and plus she takes where I teach in the evening at a couple other dance studios along the way. But it was a great show as far as just the overall production. Did a good job, Kelly. And some of the guys that do some of the videotaping, there's a company called Lockwood, and they do a great job at videotaping. So if you guys ever need anybody to do anything for weddings and so on and so forth, you can always look them up, and that's Lockwood. So, so what say you, Paul? What's the next topic?
I got to ask you. I know you don't watch a lot of TV, but do you watch Dance Moms?
I've only seen the show once. I only saw it was just
so.
It was
your daughter dances, so the listeners probably all want to know: are you like the Dance Moms?
Oh, me being a dance dad teaching?
No, not teaching.
Like the moms in there? No, I don't. It's just, to me, it's, hey, if kids are going to do something for fun, they're going to do it. If they're going to take it seriously, no matter how hard you push them, they're not going to do it unless they really want to do it. And that's just the way it is, If someone says, hey, I want to play football, they're going to go all out to play football, that kid. If someone wants to, and hockey's a big sport, but a lot of times fathers they push it a little bit too much, and their kids get a little bit burnt out. And so you kind of got to sit back and say, you want your kid to work hard. You want to show them that, hard work does pay off, but at the same time, you don't want to burn the fun out of what they're doing. And that's something that I think goalie parents have probably the hardest time with, because they got all these good luck charms with, and I've seen it, and it's something that I steer away from and try to keep it simple.
I always just chuckle when that topic comes up, because I've coached kids sports for 15 years, and you just get into funny stuff all the time like that, and you kind of have to laugh about the extreme parents. I mean, you can drive yourself crazy if you get worked up with what they come up with, and I always would try and explain to parents and try and give them the reality check on something. But since you mentioned hockey, I got to tell you this quick story. This is kind of funny. My wife's family, part of them are from Canada, and they have she has a couple little cousins, and they play hockey. Mm-hmm. And I think it was last year they had a tournament in Dearborn, so we went to watch them play. So we were sitting with the Canadian parents, right? And her nephews or cousins are Canadian and playing against an American team. And the Canadians were winning, like 4-0, and then the American team scored a goal. But here's a funny thing. The Canadian parents, boy, and nothing against Canadian parents. Again, I just think this is funny. No, but listen, they're like, those darn Americans, they can't handle that. We're better in hockey, and they cheat just so they can get a goal against us Canadians. And, again, you got to laugh about this stuff. Inside, I was just cracking up, because, I mean,
they live and die on the goals. And,
they're 6-year-old kids, for God's sakes.
Hey, man, anger has no IQ. Keep it simple,
They're tripping and falling over the puck and stuff. Who cares about this or that? But no,
they really don't care about you. And then a lot of times they don't even know who won, and they don't really even care. First place, second place, third place, it's really irrelevant to them. It's usually the process of just getting out there and having fun.
Having fun with your friends, yep.
Absolutely. And, on Father's Day out there, a lot of fathers put a lot of effort into their kids and stuff like that, but at the same time, they're gonna take their own path. I mean, you present it to them, you put it out there, and they choose. And every one of my kids have surprised me what they're gonna do. But hey, Paul, we're just talking about people that want to call in after the show. If you want to get a hold of us, the number to our phone is 855-USA-1976. That's 855-USA-1976. Or you can visit us at theoraclesofradio.com. With any real estate questions, listing your house, selling, buying a house, anything that you need to do, give me a call. My name is Jimmy Moss. I'm with Red Carpet Platinum. And, I will help you out with the details on that. I know what's going on, and just the little things that are out there. I mean, I've been doing loans myself for a long time. I'm not licensed here in Michigan, but I do know everything about, I think, as far as the lending industry, but being in it for so long. And, if you ever have any question on lender paid fees and how, or buyer paid, the different ways you can obtain your loan, out of pocket expenses that you might have to pay, or get a higher interest rate and have lender paid fees. You might not realize that there's different choices that you could choose when you're picking your loan. And, some banks don't have to disclose those, and some brokers do, the yield spread and what they make. So, the things you're looking at to make sure you're comparing apples to apples and oranges to oranges if you ever have any questions with regards to that. And, any law questions, I mean, there's always something that pops up in somebody's head that's, well, what do I do and how do I do it? Just give Paul a call, You can reach him at the 855-USA-1976. He's a straight shooter. He'll tell you what, when it's blue, it's blue. And you can just, at that point, the knowledge that he has will help you sleep better at night. So, give him a call. So give us a call at 855-USA-1976 or visit us at oraclesofradio.com. And, we're on every Sunday. We do tend to take the summer off because we have so much going on. And with that said, Paul, I know we're getting ready to wrap this up. You got some thoughts, buddy?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to pick up where we were talking about with the joint ownership of property. We talked about cars a little bit, but I just wanted to mention this one thing. Mm-hmm. When it comes to real estate in Michigan, though, it's different than what we talked about with cars. We talked about with cars, whoever drives the car, that's whose person's name should be on the title, and that's it. Mm-hmm. But for houses for a married couple, Michigan has a special law where if you own your house as husband and wife, that is the strongest level of protection, because then any creditor who's just against the husband or just against the wife, they cannot touch the house.
And don't put it into what? An LLC?
Well, no. Not that. Michigan's a little bit different.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Nevada. You don't want to do that.
That's what I'm saying. Leave it out.
Right. The husband and wife is called entireties, and that's the strongest level of protection. And, while we're on this subject, I'm going to talk some more about it here. But while we're on this subject, when you go to do a transaction or you get married and you don't know whose name is on the house and so forth, or whose name should be on the house, don't forget our sponsor, Parks Title. They do a great job at checking that.
Great company, so great local company. Love Parks Title.
Yeah, when you go to do a transaction, they are going to look and they're going to check into things such as dower rights, like we were talking about before, where people's names don't necessarily show up on property, but they have an interest in it. They're gonna check all that out for you. Plus, they insure the transaction, to make sure that everything goes through smoothly.
And their insurance is great.
Yeah, and Parks Title, they have several different locations. The one that we deal with mostly is the one near to here in Royal Oak.
Yeah.
So again, back to that joint ownership. You want your property to be husband and wife. If you own the property when you're a single person and then you get married, you should redo the deed showing
this is the
husband
stuff, folks,
and wife.
When you're out there and you're going through the process and you really need to speak with a realtor, that's great. You need a real estate agent to help you with the details, but sometimes they go a little farther beyond that and you need an attorney to step in. I mean, myself as a real estate agent, I'm never going to tell you how you're supposed to take title or hold title because it's not my job and it's something that's in the job of an attorney, or unless you know what you're doing. So when you're out there and you're looking at contracts and you have any questions or you think your realtor is just not up to snuff on it, give us a call. Or if you just have any questions for Paul, and you do have a great realtor and you just have an attorney question, give him a call. I mean, he'll help you out with the skinny. Sure.
Yeah, absolutely. By listening to the show, I think all the listeners could tell that we're very approachable, and I know a lot of people think that if they say two words to a lawyer, they're going to get a bill. It doesn't work that way. You can call me and ask me quick questions. If it's going to get involved, then we'll talk about how we need to get it involved. But just the simple stuff, absolutely, give us a call. A lot of these little things you don't know about, and it's one of those things where if you get a good answer early on, it can save you, a mountain full of hurt, down the road.
And money, that's for sure. Hey, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. It's what a great day. I mean, myself and yourself both being fathers here. We love our kids, and that's hug your kids today. Have a good time with Father's Day out there, and
thank your dads.
Yeah,
thank your fathers out there
for all that they give, because they've given a lot. Sometimes they work in 3 jobs, so you guys are you can have the things that you need. So. Hey, and if you ever need a real estate agent, you ever need an attorney, you know how to reach us at the oraclesofradio.com. And with that said, hey, Paul, you want to take it home?
Yep. Happy Father's Day to my father, Jimmy's father, and do something great for your father today.
Love you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Oracles of Radio, sponsored by Oracles of Radio, LLC, on the Patriot, 92.7 FM and 1400 AM. Hosted by Realtor Jimmy Moss and attorney Paul Gigliotti. For more information, visit oraclesofradio.com on the web. oraclesofradio.com.
It was summertime in northern Michigan.
Comments made on this show should not be construed as professional advice. Listeners should not take any action based on the advice given over the air. Listeners should only act upon advice given during a face-to-face consultation with a professional who knows all of the client's information and has reviewed all of the client's documentation.
They said it would be so super easy.
Who?
You know, they.
Oh, you meant them?
Yes, they.
Oh, they. That